Okay, think. You gotta make another video. It's been too long. Maybe I could do a video on the Oscar nominations? No, I can't. The Oscars are rigged and everybody knows that. You gotta talk about something new, but not too new. I think I got something. Are you sure you want to say this? It might put a little heat on you. What's wrong with a little heat? Let's make things interesting. You know what you want to say. Your channel is still super new. Not a lot of people are watching yet. Maybe pick a more popular opinion? Everyone's already talked about popular opinions. That's why they're popular. You need to talk about something new. I'm just worried about your reputation. Nothing's wrong with telling the truth, Max. It's what people need and deserve to hear. Can both of you shut up? Ugh. What do I do? So it's decided then. Jurassic Park: The Lost World is just as good as the first Jurassic Park. Before I start the video, I want to give a huge shout out to one of my best friends, Ben Barry. He's the one who made that brand new animated logo along with that whole brand new intro sequence with clips of all my favorite movies. He is so kind and so talented, and I am so lucky to have him as my friend. He's part of a group called So Far So Good. He does an annual Halloween special called Ben Ghoulie, where he talks all things ghosts, goblins, and spooky movies. It's awesome. Go check it out. Okay, so on to my hot take. The Lost World.
Go. As fast as you can.
I need you to send rescue immediately.
Taking dinosaurs off this island is the worst idea in history of bad ideas.
You can call this movie many things. You can call it The Lost World. You can call it Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Just don't call it by its actual name, The Lost World Jurassic Park, because that's just stupid. In the intro, I said it's just as good as the original. It is. It is just as good as the original. So let me give some backstory with this movie. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. And don't get me wrong, Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time. I owe a lot to Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is like, I have a bunch of movies that are really important to me. This is gonna be a hot take that like I'm gonna dive into in another video I'm planning in the future, but the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is my all-time favorite movie. Because it's the movie that like got me into loving film in the first place, and I will dive all into that mess in a future video. But the original Jurassic Park is very important to me because it's the first movie that like I watched it, I loved it, and I was like, how did they do this? You know, with Temple of Doom, like I watched it and I was like, that was amazing. It made me experience so many emotions. You know, like I felt, I just like, I didn't know a movie could make me feel this way. With Jurassic Park, it was that same, you know, Spielberg magic, that sense of wonder and awe you get when you watch all of his movies. But when you watch Jurassic Park, at the end I was like, how did they do that? Those dinosaurs are real. How did they bring dinosaurs back to life? And it was the first movie where I really dove into like the behind the scenes and got interested in like filmmaking and the craft of filmmaking. But Jurassic Park, I owe a lot to. It's the first movie that got me interested in production and how movies are made, and it just fueled my need to become a filmmaker. So, The Lost World, the sequel to Jurassic Park, it's also directed by Steven Spielberg. It's the last one he directed, but I love The Lost World. I think it is I think it's so much fun. It's such a fun movie. It's got the awe and the spectacle, but like the interesting thing about Steven Spielberg's sequels, The Lost World, Temple of Doom, is both of these movies have a lot of hate. And I think I know why. They're both completely different than the original. The Lost World is a completely different movie than Jurassic Park, which is why I say it's just as good as Jurassic Park, because it's a completely different movie. It's not Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg wanted to delve into the aftermath of the first movie. Therefore, this movie is a lot darker. So let's get into the nitty-gritty as to why I love this movie, if I haven't told you a bunch of random disconnected thoughts already. This movie it's a Spielberg movie, so it's damn good filmmaking. The trailer sequence, amazing. It's honestly one of the best Spielberg sequences of all time. It evokes that tension, and it just makes me sit on the edge of my seat every time to this day. I've seen this movie like a million times, and every time I see that sequence and Sarah Harding is like on the glass and she's laying there and it's cracking, I am just on my seat and I am sweating. I am sweating bullets. It is so good. It's got great set pieces. It's got amazing cinematography. The cinematography and the direction and the melding of those two things is amazing in this movie. Steven Spielberg uses all these long takes just to capture so much in a scene, which is probably why he wrapped ahead of schedule on this film. The first scene, for example, we open on a beach. The beach is Isla Nublar, the beach of Isla Nublar, and there's like this rich family, they're on a cruise, and they're doing like a little picnic on the beach. We have this long shot of the camera following the waiter carrying the glass of champagne, and then we're following the glass of champagne, and then we're following the wife, and then we're following the daughter into the forest, and then she runs into some dinosaurs and gets bit up, and then we get the best cut in all of cinema. I swear to God, it's the best cut in all of cinema. I don't care what you say. This is amazing. We hear her screaming. The mom runs from the beach, looks at her daughter being eaten by compies. She screams. The camera whip pans around. It's Jeff Goldblum yawning, and then he has there are palm trees. Remember the word, there are palm trees behind Jeff Goldblum, so we're like, oh, Jeff Goldblum's on a beach. No, he's not on a beach, he's in a subway, and the screaming has turned into the screeching of trains, and he walks onto a train. It's, it's amazing. I love it so much. It's so creative. First of all, I'm gonna calm down for a second. It's a good meme. She's screaming and then it cuts to Jeff Goldblum. That's funny. But, I love the idea of her screaming and then the transition from that beach to the subway. I love that the audio transition is she screams and then her screams slowly turn into the screeching of a subway train coming to a stop. I just think that's brilliant. So we got two things. We got two things. Two things. We got amazing cinematography and we got amazing set pieces. Gee, I wonder what else we have. I mean, it's only the sequel to, the movie that has like the best special effects of all time. So these special effects for these dinosaurs, they can't be as good as the original, can they? They can. They like this movie. Come here. This movie, it goes bigger with everything. And the best way possible. Okay? I'm gonna zoom out now. There isn't just one there isn't just one T-Rex in this movie, okay? This movie has two T-Rexes. This movie has two T-Rexes. It's got mommy and daddy T-Rex, and I mean, both of these animatronics are on screen at the same time, and they look so good, down to the eyeballs and the irises and the head movements. It's so fluid. The scene where Eddie gets ripped in half by the T-Rexes, which is fucking awesome, by the way, is so impressive because he gets lifted up by the practical animatronic T-Rex. They built like a whole separate T-Rex to do that stunt. It has like a harness in its mouth that Eddie's leg, yeah, he gets lifted up by the legs. Eddie's leg could fit into. So that T-Rex is literally, that animatronic T-Rex is literally lifting up an actual person into the air. What? That's amazing. I want that to be my job so bad. Not the animatronic. I want to be lifted by a mechanical T-Rex and ripped in half. In a good way. So I so stupid. I love this movie so much. I love it so much. It's so much fun. We're gonna keep talking about dinosaurs because I'm saving the best for last. I really am. The Stegosauruses at the beginning of the movie are beautiful to look at. They're a marvel. They're so incredible. I just like, it's so wonderful to see them. I love that every time we get introduced to the dinosaurs and it's this big wonderful sense of awe. It's the plant boys, you know, the boys that like the plants, and it's just like, it's just so nice and peaceful. But like those plant boys, they can fuck you up, and we see that in this movie with Sarah Harding like trying to avoid their little tails, you know. Just saying, dinosaurs be crazy, but the Stegosauruses are amazing. Fuck it, I'm going back to the T-Rexes because I need to talk about one of the most amazing and impressive feats in this movie, and that is the baby T-Rex. It is so impressive, and it's one of the reasons why when people show this movie, I'm like, no. Like, you don't understand the feats that they accomplished in this movie. That baby T-Rex is so lifelike and so real. It's just as lifelike as the actual T-Rex models or the Velociraptor models. Or like, hell, even the sick trike in the first movie. It's like amazing. It's a baby T-Rex. And Vince Vaughn has to like carry this animatronic. So it's not like it's standing in one place with a bunch of puppeteers. It's all remotely controlled. And Vince Vaughn has to carry it lightly because it's delicate. And like, they have to act with it. And like, it's obviously not as strong as it is. So he has to act like it's really like throwing his arms around and everything. It's so impressive and it's so lifelike, and I don't know why, it's the weirdest thing, but it reminds me of my dog so much, and I love that I love that T-Rex, man. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. I love it. So yes, and also, we also need to thank this movie for another thing. Say it with me now. You won't say it with me. Say it with me now. Velociraptors in long grass. We get velociraptors in long grass in this movie. It's like one of my favorite shots of all time. It's an aerial shot of the InGen soldiers walking through this long grass, and we just see like 4 trails behind them just coming up to the group, and we see the little velociraptor tails waving in the grass. It's so haunting and so excellent. I think it's beautiful. I think it's amazing. So yeah, dinosaurs are fucking awesome, and the special effects and the practical effects are beautiful, and I love it. They also shot this movie in the forests, as opposed to the previous movie where they shot it in the jungles of Hawaii. They shot it in the forests. I don't know where. Should probably figure out where. Which forests did they shoot the Lost World in? Oh, the Redwood. I've been to the Redwood State Park. Okay, so in the Redwood State Park in California. That's where they shot the Lost World, which, hell yeah. I've been on Isla Nublar. Which I think is interesting because that's like a more natural environment for because like dinosaurs didn't just exist in the tropical islands. They existed, you know, in forests and everywhere. Anyways, best part of this movie. Jeff Goldblum. There's a reason I have a shrine to this man. I love him so much. It's almost borderline unhealthy. I love how unique he is. I'm not gonna say weird, because that's kind of mean, and that feels like a disservice to who he is as a human being. He's definitely one of those. I think it's a really good decision just to bring him back. He's the only returning character from the original, except for a cameo from the kids and Tim and Lex and Hammond at the beginning, which Hammond's a fucking psychopath, by the way, but we don't need to talk about that. That's known information that you understand. He made dinosaurs real. Need I say more? But Jeff Goldblum is just so good in this movie, and I've heard people complain that he's just not as charismatic as he is in the original. I disagree to an extent. The difference is this version of Ian Malcolm has been through some shit. That shit was Jurassic Park. So he's a little more reserved now. He's suffering from PTSD, as would we all if we experienced the events of Jurassic Park. But he's still got that charisma. Malcolm's still got that riz.
I need a complete photo record of those animals alive and in their natural habitat.
So you went from capitalist to naturalist in just 4 years. That's something.
I like to follow individual characters. I like to get to know each character's on a more intimate level. So Jeff Goldblum is amazing. He has so much energy and he is so enthusiastic in this movie. And you can just tell he's having a blast. I mean, I'm a nerd, so I've watched all the behind the scenes footage on the original DVD, on the first Blu-ray, and on the new Blu-ray collection set that I have. And like he's having so much fun on set, and Spielberg has so much fun directing them. And you can just tell that they get along. I told you I was saving the best for last. And this is something that I realized on my most recent viewing a couple nights ago when I was getting ready for this video. I was watching the movie the other night, and it wasn't until I saw the shot of the T-Rex captured before they leave the island, in chains. And I was like, oh my god, this movie is Steven Spielberg's King Kong. And when you watch it, it's exactly like King Kong. It hits all the story beats, except it's not King Kong. It's so cool. You get a group of scientists and researchers going to a lost world. In this case, the island is Isla Nublar. In King Kong's case, the island was Skull Island. They encounter the crazy wildlife. In this case, it's dinosaurs. In King Kong's case, it's also dinosaurs, big bugs, and a big monkey. And then at the end, they capture the big, the apex predator of the island, and they bring it back to the mainland. That apex predator continues to wreak havoc on the mainland, and this is where they diverge a little bit. King Kong dies. T-Rex does not, because this movie is amazing and it loves animals, and the T-Rex survives, and it makes me happy. The baby also survives. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here because I love this movie and I don't want to waste your time. So even though I already have, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I appreciate it so much. This is a movie I love, and I hope if you also love this movie, you agree with the things I say. And if you don't like this movie, I hope now you can kind of gauge as to why it's good. I know there's a gymnastics scene in the movie where Jeff Goldblum's daughter does gymnastics on a velociraptor and kicks his ass. But that's 30 seconds of a movie, and a movie's pretty long, and that's just 30 seconds, and Jeff Goldblum has a great one-liner at the end that saves the whole sequence for me. So, there you go. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can be notified of my next video, and leave a comment down below as to what your favorite Jurassic Park movie is. You'll probably say the first one, which is fair, but I'm curious if anybody else has any hot takes. Just don't say Dominion, Fallen Kingdom, or Jurassic Park 3, because those are all bad. So that only leaves you the first one or this one. So yeah, no, I'm kidding. You can like whatever movies you want. I don't care. They're movies. I'm just happy people are making them. So, thank you so much for watching. Hope you stick around, and hope to see you next time. See ya.